All right, everyone. This is Marwan Cameron, and you know it's the Conduit. I don't have any music today. Why? Because we are outside. It's a beautiful Saturday, and I'm out here with two of G2's finest, Raymond Pateau and Rob Dent. How you doing there, gentlemen? How's your Saturdays going? All right, so this is our test to see how we're doing today. Want to see if this is something viable to, do the podcast outside because summertime is coming, is beautiful, and I got to get outdoors. You know what I mean? I'm in front of that computer for so long, and oh man, I got to work on my tan. You know what I mean? This I got to get this chocolate nice and you know. That's right. It's right now I'm like 89%. I'm trying to get to at least 91, 96. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? So I gotta work on that tan, I want to be looking good, feeling good. The air feels great. We've been cooped up for more than what, a good year and a half now. Man, it's tough. So if there's any way that, I can get out here and enjoy the weather, I'm gonna do some of the podcasting from, outside because you gotta take care of God's, all the gifts that he's given us. But it's been a week. The end of May is here. We are already in June. Basically, we got a holiday coming up on Monday. Just want to kind of get you guys' reflections so far in the first half of the year. I said last week, but let's make it the first half of the year. We went through 2020, we survived, we're going into 2021. This year is going tremendously quickly. And like I said, it's already June. So, what are your thoughts on that? What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish for the rest of this year? Let's do that. You ready to go?
Oh yeah. There you go. Went to barbershop. We talk about anything? Oh, awesome. So this year, I have to admit, starting off with the epidemic, that it was kind of slow and it was a lot to get adjusted to. Um, Me as an individual who just came into Kitsap and Bremerton from the East Coast, Connecticut and New York, there was a lot of changes that I had to adapt to. A lot of driving changes, street lights. A lot of people who knows me understand what I'm talking about. But with that being said, it's been a lot of growth. Growth meaning that I started from a point or a place in Bremerton where there was actually no hope to a place where there was absolutely hope bigger than I could ever imagine. And the key was try to adapt and try to get inside that mindset and try to be productive. And with that being said, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have become aware and I have been aware of, which I have not seen, which was leadership, people's roles, how people care about you, and how strict people could be when necessary. I've always been the type of person, man. Don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining. Just it's raining. So I would like to say that I have learned a lot from individuals, Rob on the side of me, and also Mr. Mawan, my mentor. And with that, they put up with a lot. I'm not an easy person to get along with. Anybody could tell you that, especially for my East Coast friends, man. You guys already know what time it is. And so I had a long conversation with my daughter Dominique this morning, and it was about an hour, and it was beautiful to see her growth spiritually. So the year has been going. It's never a loss. It's always a win. So I've been winning in the sense of learning. I fall a lot, but hey, you got to fall to learn, and that's the best way to learn sometimes, because when you fall, it's personal. It's right there in your face. So you either adjust or you just keep falling. I'm trying not to fall anymore. I want to give back to the community that was so freely given to me, and that's the part where I stand. And it was like freely given to me means freely given to me. Like, you don't have to live like this no more. That came from my mentor, Mr. Mawan, and I haven't lived like that. And because of that statement, I've been with G2 since I've been here, about a week since I've been here, and I'm still there. We do our ups and downs, but we're all men, and men, sometimes men's collide, and we have to adjust and try to figure out where they're coming from. And that's what I've been trying to do. And when I get awoken, I'm awoken. When I'm sleeping, everybody knows it, but I'm awake and I understand what's going on and I love it. And I want to be a big part of it. I also sit on the board of G2. So, there's been a big progress. Mind you that I started from homelessness. Now I sit on the board, and I get to have coffee with the executive director and a board member and a co-founder, like on a weekend. I think I'm doing pretty good. With that being said, I'll pass it to Mike.
Rob, I'm sorry. Go ahead, get back to me first, real quick. All right, I appreciate that, Raymond. Yeah, I think it's good for us to be reflective. Oftentimes, we're so busy in it, right? Our head is down. We're doing the work. We don't take, the time, one, to sit back and smell the flowers, but look at our growth. Look at where we can grow, what we need to continue to work on. We don't look at what to be thankful for and kind of go from there. How you doing there, Mr. Mailman? I appreciate you, sir. Yeah, you too. So, it's good. Speak to people. You know what I'm saying? They're out here doing work. These are people. Acknowledge folks' presence. It's important to do that, right? All right, Rob, how you doing? How's your 6 months? What are you thinking about?
Well, my 6 months have been incredible. It's really interesting. I mean, 6 months ago, I couldn't tell you we would be where we are right now. Our growth as a nonprofit, our growth as a construction company are off the charts. I mean, we're going forward. We're doing the mission. I mean, concessions are back. We've got, that going on. Driving's picking up. We survived the worst part of this pandemic when everybody was locked down. We were still doing the business. We're still doing the mission. We're still doing our thing. And now here we are. We're reaping the fruits of that. Because we're still out here, we're doing our thing. I mean, we've got a meal service that we do on Thursdays, and that's progressing well. We've got other things that are on the back burner that you'll bring about whenever you deem it appropriate to bring about. But it has just been a phenomenal whirlwind of 6 months, and I think that I've learned more about myself in the last year and even in the last 6 months from conversations with you, conversations with Raymond, learning more about history, about myself, how to react to people and how to be. So I've seen growth there in myself. But also, I mean, even with my family, things are actually going really well for the last 6 months. It doesn't matter that it's crazy, but we're all involved. So we're all part of that crazy. So it's been a good 6 months.
All right, that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and hand it back to Raymond.
Hey, just quick message. If anybody following my Facebook, the individual that we sent to KISSAP institution where he had a breakdown, and you guys know when I posted it. Now, Michelle, definitely he is 100%. I'm thinking I'm going to go visit him today after I move, so I will try to post what's going on with him. But I don't need no gratitude or no thank you for that. It's just paying it forward. So it's just something that G2 does, and every individual that works and participates in G2 tries to make a point of it. I'm literally in the street 24 hours a day from work to wherever I have to go. I don't hide from the streets because the people that needs the help are out there in the streets. So that's why I'm there, and that's why I did what I did. It was not for gratitude. Hopefully I'll see him today and see where his mindset is, and hopefully he'll stay and get better. So fingers up and let's cross.
All right, G2 always doing the work. I like what you said. Rob, you kind of gave a summary of what G2 has been through, but I want you to dig a little deeper, right? Yeah, you knew that was coming, right? So you talked about what G2 is doing, but you also said, hey, I've learned a lot over the last year and this and that, and I've come a long way. So, talk about that, right? Because that's what Raymond kind of went into. He talked about his growth. He talked about some of his struggles and things that he is working to overcome and still working on. So what are some of those things for you, right? Because I think as men, when we look at each other, we either see a few different things, right? You can see someone who may have the facade of having it all together, right? And it's like every time you interact with that person, they're always upright, they're always perfect, so you never see them when they're down, right? And so that can be difficult because as someone is trying to grow and what's the words I'm looking for? Get to a point where they're more self-sufficient in that, aspect of their lives. What is it? Because that's that intangible piece that's missing when someone is going through and they're looking at the fork in the road, and they can either go left or right. And we know that life is a series of choices, and there's so many choices that we can get way off our path and look up and say, how did we get here? Or we can look up and say, hey, you know what? There's too many choices. I'm not going to make a choice, which is a choice in and of itself, right? So choosing not to choose is a choice, and it comes with, consequences based on that, right? So, people need to see that. How do you continue to get up every day and do the work? How do you battle the things that you're trying to work through, right? To be the best version of yourself, so talk a little bit about that, Growth.
Well, first, I mean, to get up every day and do what we do and to continue to do it every day, the biggest reason that I do that is purpose. I mean, honestly, it gives me a purpose in my life. I mean, and not just, I mean, you can say you have purpose because you have a job and you have a family and you have these things. But we've talked about this. This is, it makes me fulfilled. It gives me a reason to, if I left tomorrow, there's a mark on this world that I've done something. Oh, sorry. But yeah, so it is, it's that it is go out and do the work and help the people, because, it's going to leave a mark on this world. It really is going to leave a mark on this world. And it doesn't matter what size the mark is. I did something to make it better.
But why is that important?
Because it is giving back. I mean, I guess I can say I'm at a point in my life that it is it's giving back. I mean, the amount of work, the amount of effort and things it took to get me to this point, from people around me, from agencies, from wherever it may be. There's something in me that's driving me that says, this is what I have to do. I have to give back. I have to pay back that, what was given to me, what was graciously given to me.
So that's the intangible, right? So
yeah,
that's what I'm trying to get to, right? You're saying there's just something. What is that something? Because that's what propels you, and that's what people need.
Yeah,
who are trying to grow from where they're at and change.
Yeah, yeah, man, you always ask the hard questions. I would tell you that the stuff that's in me, I mean, and it's, I would almost say that's the same thing that drives my wife. I mean, it is, you look everywhere around you, you could do something about it. So do something about it. I don't do this because I want to be rich, and I don't do this because I want you to say thank you all the time or anybody to say thank you. I do this because I want to do this. And it doesn't matter. I mean, we could not be sitting here talking right now. I'm still going to try to do this.
Why?
It's in my nature.
Why? How's it in your nature?
Maybe it's just
doing this.
No, I wasn't doing it in my past. I would say that it is a growth piece, because I mean, there are the lived experiences, the various places, working the various places, seeing the various things, seeing the problems in the system, and just realizing that a change needs to be made. I don't know how I can dig deeper than that.
Let me pose a question.
Okay.
Right? So you're seeing, you have all these lived experiences.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you see that something needs to be done.
Yes.
But at the same time, your primary goal is to take care of yourself, your wife, and your son.
Okay.
Right. So if that is the primary goal.
Yeah.
Right, but you have this secondary thing here.
Yeah.
Why does this get so much pull in your life?
Well, I would say the primary goal is met by taking care of Stephanie and taking care of my son, Brandon, by doing the things we do. Okay. I mean, not just doing the things we do, but, I mean, we know that we got this help. It got us a roof over our head so that we could go forward. We could do these things. So now that primary goal is met. Okay. We've got security. We've got a safe place to be. Mm-hmm. Well, all these resources were put into getting me that safe place. Well, why shouldn't I be able to help other people get to that safe place? So that is that pull. That you don't have to be out there, that there are things out there. There are people out there to help you. And if I have to, I shouldn't say if I have to, I am, it is going out there and doing those things, teaching or helping or doing whatever for whatever form of self-sufficiency that we can get them is helping them towards that goal.
All right.
Okay.
Jump in there, Raymond.
Sure. It'll be my pleasure. First and foremost, what drives me for every individual, it's a different drive. And sometimes in order to find that drive, you actually have to communicate and find out exactly what's going on with them. What drives me is that I have always been a spiritual man, and I just never could find my niche. So I always needed something greater than myself in order for me to move. And it always had to be greater than me. So because I found G2, which was something which is greater than myself, and the mission statement, which was precisely something that I was looking forward to and wanted to achieve in my life. Well, self-sufficiency for all of Kitsap County, and including the members of G2. And so that was a driven force that said, there it is. For everybody, that the statement says, for everybody in the county where they're at. Okay, I like that. And so then once I started walking and learning about what the mechanism of G2 is, I said, this is something that I could see. Transportation, people needs to get from one place to another in order to improve themselves, or in order to get to a place where they have a situation going on and they got to get there, and there's no transportation out there. And if there is transportation, the prices are so high that it's basically going from one place to another and just wasting money that you desperately need if you have children or if you have no transportation. So because of that, we offer a lot of free rides. I'm pretty sure you guys listen to Mr. Mawan's broadcast, and there's always free rides he's promoting. And then second thing is that we go to concessions, and then the money that we receive from the concessions goes back to the community. Once again, that's a plus for me. And third, we started a construction company where people could actually learn a trade, which is actually going to take them out of the situation they are in right now and move them to another place. With a trade, you could go anywhere. I'm all for it. So that is the driven force for me. It's not just talking about our mission. We are the mission. So that drives me. And it stems from me wanting to know or wanting to be a part of something greater than myself, like I said before. So since I found that, it's kind of hard to get rid of that or try to live and separate yourself from that and think you're going to be okay. You can't sleep at night because they are doing exactly what you was thinking about doing and what you always wanted to be a part of. That's my driven force. And with that, the individual has to have a driven force. And then if they want to change, they have to have a circumstance in their life that promotes change. It could be falling down, completely falling. Some people have their levels of how they fall. But if you fall enough where you say, I got to make a change. And once you say that, then that's the start. And once you have that in your mind that you need to change, then you got to go find out where you fit in. And G2, the doors are open. Gentlemen, everybody out there, the door is always open. You could call the office. You could call. We have cards that we pass out. Anybody have a card, call Rob, call Mr. Mawan, call me. We'll promote you and we'll bring you right to the doorstep. And hopefully your life could change for a better. And that's what drives me. Constantly will always drive me. I was in Bremerton when I got here, broke and with no direction. And they reached out and they said, you don't have to live like that no more. And that's a driven force.
All right. I appreciate that, gentlemen. As many of you know, I will spring things up on folks. So this was not the plan this morning to be on the podcast and definitely to go live. But I'm like, oh, man, it's a sunny day. I wanted to test it out. I have, two hamsters to come through, or the canaries in the coal mine. So why not? I mean, one never met a camera he didn't like anyway. So, it's all good. You see how he's kind of positioned his biceps to be in the shot, and he's got his sleeves rolled up. So he's, you can see where the the priority is. Like, yeah, look at the guns. It's Saturday. You need to see that, brother. You know what I'm saying? Zulu all day. Look at that. See how he's holding the arm out? Look at the triceps. Shout out to Lucia. Appreciate you always checking in on us and watching. It's interesting. I was in a Zoom meeting yesterday, part of the reentry program, I mean, there's just so many powerful people here in this county doing good work. Um, and the question kind of went around of, well, why do you do the work you do? And they were talking specifically in that space, right? And so I asked you guys, to reflect on the last 6 months, and it's a wide open forum. You get to say whatever you want to say, right? Whatever comes onto your heart that you want to say. There's no script, there's no, hey, don't forget to talk about this and mention that, right? Um, and I was second to last. And so, it's already Friday, the podcast, or, the Zoom meeting is getting ready to end. There's like 20 or plus people on there. And it's like, okay, I got to keep it short. And so what do you say? Why am I part of this particular circle, right? Thinking about that yesterday, but I sit on this board, or I'm on this committee, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. Foster care alumni, all these different things that we care about, right? We have all these interests. And so what I said was this, there are a myriad of reasons why I participate in the groups that I participate in. But one thing that I believe in with G2 is people need a place to belong. And oftentimes you see all these different organizations that are out there. There are lots of nonprofits, right? I mean, we got the Kids Have Great Give. There are over 300 nonprofits. So there's a place that maybe you can find yourself in, that you can fit into. But you may not fit into that, right? Or your makeup, your lived experience is such that you still feel like an outsider in that particular organization, or that place that you want to. They do good work, right? You may have even receive services from them. So create your own, right? Create your own, and be what it is you want to give back in the world. Be what was missing that you wish that you had in your life, right? I wish that in my teenage years, and I'm talking about young teenage years, 14, 15, 16, maybe something like Coffee O, or, even a G2 had existed, and that I would have been receptive and open to it at the time that I engaged it, right? Because there were organizations that existed back then, right? I mean, I was living at the YMCA at 16. So, um, but I didn't feel that. And into my 20s, I still felt very disconnected. And, I had friends, I had, girlfriends and different relationships and whatnot, but I'm still just kind of going through the motions of living, and I'm just kind of alive, right? No real purpose, just kind of taking care of myself, being pretty selfish. Your 30s, you start to mature a little bit. I didn't start working on my college career till I was 24, right? So I'm definitely a non-traditional student. And as you're going through that, you know, uh, going into the foster care system, uh, pretty much at birth, and then being adopted, going back into the foster care system, going to jail, going through all kinds of different things, trying to grow up, becoming a father at 20, just all these different things and experiences, that I've had, not feeling like, I don't really belong here. I don't really belong there. But I'm seeing people come through and access different resources, especially at the college, when I ended up there, and just people feeling like they didn't have a place where they belong, right? There's something, like I said before, there's Running Start, there's, veteran services, there's, all these things for other groups, but the non-traditional student, especially, a man, out in the wilderness, right? Non-custodial parent, trying to figure it out. It's tough, right? You don't know who to trust. You don't trust people because of your experiences. You've been hurt. And so you're just trying to maintain. And I've told my story, a lot, through steps to success, and, being stubborn, being hard headed, not being humble, being prideful, and not having that space or meeting that person that could help me to shelve those things, kind of what Raymond talks about. For me, I mean, we could close tomorrow, I mean, Raymond is to me a living testimony of what I hope G2 could be for people, right? Is a place to come in, feel connected, feel some ownership in something, and participate and put their stamp on it, right? And that's really what it is. We gather together and we grow together. It sounds so cliche, but it's so perfect in what it is, because what it says is none of us are done. None of us are finished. Wherever we come, right? today. We come with our baggage, we come with our achievements, and we're trying to work through whatever we're trying to work through and grow to that next step, right? And sometimes it's trying to just hang on to the step we're on and not lose ground, right? Or as Raymond said, we fell down and we're trying to get back up. So I think that's really important. And so for me, in a more long-winded, loquacious explanation that I couldn't give yesterday, is really creating a space for people to belong, that feel like they're kind of an out group, that they don't really fit in anywhere else. And, they can fit in and they are a part of something, right? Their essence, their spirit, their quirkiness, fits, right? And it's so interesting how we bring people to us who have a lot of similarities, right? I didn't know that, you were in the foster system and were adopted, right? uh, and just a lot of the things that we've gone through, coming from the East Coast, having a lot of shared experiences. So, I think that's really important. And, people come and go. And I think for me, something that my dad always said was, that the job is to plant the seed. You may not ever see it grow. You just have to plant it, right? And we've seen people try to come back and still they're not ready, but they know that seed was implanted. So we know once they get to a maturity state, and it blossoms, they'll be able to pull back on those things that they got when they were part of G2, and they can use that to go forward. So I think that's really important, and that's the purpose. So when I reflect on the last 6 months, last year has been really hard. I listened to a voicemail. As you know, I left the Navy in January, and my time definitely was needed here. But I whatever I do, I take extremely seriously. But there were some issues there, and I was listening to a message from my supervisor at the time, and I got to be careful what I say, but she was not in a good place, and my heart went out to her, feeling trapped, and talking with me, and kind of it was a reversal, right? I'm leaving, but she was in a bad space, and it was so sad because she was so stuck and so dependent upon that situation that she was in, and didn't know her livelihood in the balance. And she actually reached out to me on my birthday, and she was on vacation, which was great. So I think she's doing okay. I'll have to check in on her. But it's tough for people to be stuck in whatever it is in their lives. And this is a person who is living well, financially, is secure in that way, has a good life in that, but is someone who is definitely unfulfilled, someone who was miserable, unhappy, um, and just wanted to do the work, right? And that can be difficult sometimes. It's like, you know what, I just want to help people. That's all I want to do. Just make it simple for me. Let me help people, and you deal with all this stuff. Let me just do this, and this will make me fulfilled, right? I can move myself along the spectrum of Maslow's hierarchy, as I always talk about, of self-actualization, right? And so what I was reflecting on from you was saying, hey, you know what? You have this growth, you're taking care of your family, and your family is kind of secure. So I can do more of these things. But when you first started with Steps to Success, your family wasn't secure, right? You were in at the college to try to retrain so that you could take care of your family, and you ended up getting involved. And so for me, I'm a firm believer in, if you are helping others while you're trying to move yourself through your situation. And again, it's going to be different levels, right? People can only take on what they can take on. So some people can give 40 hours a week. Some people can give 1 hour a week. But if your mindset is of service, you're going to end up helping yourself. And so it seems counterintuitive, but it really does work. I've seen it over and over again. Reach out. The big thing is we know that there's so many issues in this world, right? There's so much stress, there's so much pain and strife, so much more coming. And we can complain or we can try to change it, right? And then not even try to change it. We can change it. This is what it takes, right? This is what it looks like. Raymond said, it's not always easy. We're not always going to see eye to eye. We're going to argue. We're going to fight. But is there a maturity there to say that there is something that is bigger than you, that you believe in, that you're going to invest in, and that you're going to work through and get through to the other side? Because man, we've all done it alone at some point in time, and it sucks. It's so much easier if you got your brothers by your side to help you to move through and move on, right? And what's great is when you're going through those lows and it's really bad and it's dark, you're not alone. But when it's good and it's great, you got someone to say, man, it's good, it's great. We're celebrating. Man, I'm thankful. I saw another birthday. I made this other achievement. We helped this particular person. I have achieved this milestone in my life. Man, I'm still here. I look back at 2 years, this date last year, this is where I was. This date 3 years ago, man. And when you look back and you can see how many steps you've taken and where you're going and how far you've gotten, man, it just helps you sit up a little higher. You know what I mean? And those ailments just don't hurt as much. The stuff you're going through doesn't make you feel quite as bad. You're like, all right, let's go. We can do this. I'm good. I'm ready. I'm fired up. Let's go. And then we go and we do the work, right? So I love you, gentlemen. I appreciate you. Go ahead. We got one more.
This is very important. Just to reminisce and think back about what Mr. Mawan said. When we don't feel a part of something, sometimes the beginning of work is the work amongst yourselves. Work within yourself. Find out who you are truly as a person. And I'll give you a quick example. I know I'm not a leader. I'm not supposed to stand on the leadership role. What I am is a warrior. I'm a soldier. I'm in the streets. So with that being said, me knowing where my position is that I allow the persons that's at the head to take the head position, and I react accordingly as this is the orders. And that's me as knowing that as in my soul. Everybody knows me. I go by Zulu, and that's a warrior standpoint. And I can't change that. And even if I try to, you won't be able to make that because it's not who you are as an individual. It's not your soul. So any individuals are out there who are looking for their niche, first and foremost, learn who you are as an individual, as a being, as a spiritual being. And then, and once you know what that is, act accordingly. Do what you're supposed to do, regardless. And another thing is that a lot of people who's out there who's looking for a spiritual place, who's looking for a place, people places are not for you. It's just doing bad. So they're doing harmful to the community. But they sound like they're doing the great thing. But if they're not doing the great thing, use your intuition, use your spirit, and act accordingly and stand strong. Don't waver for nobody. And then if they think that they're pushing you towards their light or towards their darkness, if amongst all, if you don't have a team to work with, at least it says biblically, if all else fails, just stand. And just stand. And it'll work out just perfectly for you. I promise you that, guys. I'll see you guys out there in the field. Raymond.
All right, before we sign off, shout out again to Lucia and Kelly YOG2 men. You guys are great, sending out love and good vibes, making everyone feel like they have a place to fit in. So shout out to you, Kelly. Appreciate you listening to the podcast. Again, you can follow us on here on Facebook, on Marwan Cameron, and also Gather Together, Grow Together. Some of the broadcasts won't always broadcast on Gather Together. If they're a little too polarizing, I'll just put them on my own page. And then also you can follow us on the Conduit on YouTube. But it's easier to find if you type my name in, Marwan Cameron, and find me, because there are a lot of different conduits, right? So because it's a play on words. So if you type in the Conduit, it might be hard to find. So just type in Marwan Cameron and you will find me. We ask you to subscribe, like, and share. Help to grow the channel, because everything that we do goes to serve the mission, and the mission is self-sufficiency for the people that we are in contact with. So do know, again, I will continue to mention this almost every time you see me on. The 1-on-1, 3-on-3 basketball tournament is July 30, July 31, and August 1. It is AJ's Summer Prime Basketball Tournament. You can sign up for it at ksptournament.com. So please go there and sign up. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is something that is definitely needed in the community. We look forward to having a blast. We're going to have music. We're going to have local artists performing. We'll have, we're going to have food. We're going to have all kinds of stuff going on, right? Because our public health is involved. So, literally, this is a Big Ten event. So come on through and be a part. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I am Marwan Cameron. This is the Conduit. And, I'm outside, so I don't have my music. But, at some point I will. So stay tuned. If you like this, let me know in the chat.
All your friends. All right. We just talked this morning. Marwan, let me see that. Thank you, sir. Dominique Patel. Hopefully you see this. I'll send it to you. This is Marwan Cameron. So you have a bunch of friends. You went to college. You know a lot of people. We have to subscribe, like, and share. All right. Dad needs some help. So let's get it done.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. All right. I'm Marwan Cameron. I'm signing off. G2, that's what we do. All right. Till next time.